I can't describe to you how painfully upset this season has made me. Animation in a series is a big factor whether a show does well or not. A series can have the most generic story, using every trope and doing nothing special, but if it looks like this shit, who cares? I'm watching. We have seen it time and time again. Shows out of nowhere having ridiculous visuals causing clips of them to blow up in popularity and get talked about. Some recent ones that come to mind are Heavenly Delusion, Ninja Kamui, Zom 100. Like, this shit is just beautiful. But there's always two sides of a coin. Some shows just start off being made from lower budget studios, which is fine. Can't hate on people trying their best. But then we have series that start off having pretty good animation, even sometimes killing different scenes that turn into these stale ass, slideshow moving, horribly designed seasons, and it pains the fans. The first instance I remember becoming a big deal was 7 Deadly Sins. Now I know me and many others that I talked to believe that this season 1 fucking banged. The characters were enjoyable, scenes were sick, but my lord is this kid a max prestige gooner.
You moron! You think all I like to do is go around touching girls on their high knees? Wrong, I also like fondling boobs.
Now season 1 was some Fate animated show with the most insane visuals, but you can't lie, this scene looks fire! Most of season 1 and 2 looked pretty good, and the show wasn't looked at in a bad light. That was until the inevitable season 3 came out, and it turned it into a laughingstock. The show went from 7 Deadly Sins to 7 Deadly Starving Artists being forced to push out whatever this shit is. And drawings like these, I understand when characters in the background are drawn a little bit different or slightly goofier to make it easier on the animators, but this motherfucker is right front and center, standing in front of us, bro. Who drew this and thought it was fine? So the reason for this happening and the series changing so drastically was the switch in studios going from season 2 to season 3. The massive studio that is Aniplex originally had 7 Deadly Sins in their hands, but then said, fuck all this shit. I don't want to play with you anymore. They probably did this once they saw Bond pick this 1,000-year-old lolly over the GOAT. It got handed down to a company by the name of Studio Dean, and, well, you already saw what happened. I wonder why Aniplex ever dropped 7 Deadly Sins. I mean, it wasn't massive, but it was pretty damn popular, and it's still well known today. Especially since the anime is still on Netflix, so I feel like there must have been some other reasoning as to why they decided to move away from a seemingly popular series. But this wasn't the first time fans have been disappointed from the lack of animation, and it certainly won't be the last. Now imagine if a show skipped half of its story and gave you a PowerPoint presentation of the ending of the series. Who could do such a thing? The Promised Neverland hit like fucking cold water at the ass crack of dawn. Season 1 was a huge success, creating this world and atmosphere that felt unique and had you trying to solve the mystery of the bigger picture. The characters were enjoyable, and subtle foreshadowing from the events made this show one of the best season 1s of anime I have ever seen. Following the popularity, of course it was announced for a season 2, and the lads were exuberant. And then the day came, January 8th, 2021, where we skipped an entire arc that was supposedly the best one and it introduces very important characters, and we got this awesome PowerPoint of the entire ending of the show. Are you serious? Such a good show, and the season 1 was massive, just to end up next to 7 Deadly Frames in the Hall of Fame for biggest fumbles of all time. Now the reason for this decision is unknown. This happened during COVID, so maybe that could have something to do with it. But I also saw some people used to complain about the manga a bit, so maybe this is what you get, dumbasses. Complain and feel the wrath of the animation studio botching your series. Another popular show to follow the same path was The Love's Tower of God, a very unique and complex world where the goal is to reach the top of the tower and be granted anything you desire. You know what I desire? Some big booty bitch, but also some damn decent animation. What is this fight? I'll be honest, I haven't watched season 2 yet, only the couple of clips from people dogging it on Twitter, but some of the scenes I tune in to look at, it just don't really seem that bad. Like, I would take this any day over what they did to my beloved wife. Don't worry, I'll scream about Blue Lock later. Now for a quick laugh. Every time I see this shit, I can't help but get a good chuckle in. The last couple of series we talked about went from having 1 or 2 seasons of pretty good animation that later turned into stinky pieces of schlop, but this shit, man, it does not get much worse than this. Junji Ito, as many of you know, is the GOAT for horror manga and storytelling. One of his most acclaimed pieces of work is the manga titled Uzumaki, a story of spirals killing people, backshots on a staircase, and snails having intercourse. If you can't tell from my description of it, I haven't read a page of this shit, Now, usually people talk about series and manga being too detailed or unique to ever be properly adapted into anime, but the trailer for the show looks so good, and everyone, myself included, were hyped for this anime to be released. Episode 1 released, and oh my god, they did it! The animation looks so fluid, and the style of the show matches the manga so well. It's shaping up to be a heavy hitter this season. In just its next episode, this show took a nosedive into a trash can and gave us whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Now, I got some questions. I know this show is being animated by like 2 different companies or studios, which is fine, I don't care. But I do care if one of the companies animates as if they were LeBron James, and the other company picked up to do the same job was fucking Bronny James. This shit sucks. And how does a show with only 4, you heard me right, 4 single episodes that aren't any longer than normal 22-minute long episodes, how do we not polish this up a bit more before releasing it? The world may never know. Now for the saddest thing that happened to me since my wife and kids left. Blue Lock Season 1 was released on October 9th, 2022. I had no idea what this show was about other than edgy dudes playing soccer. But god, I love this shit. I enjoyed it so much that I made an entire video solely on Season 1, just glazing and doing tricks all over it. Ever since Season 1 ended, I had to pick up the manga, and to be honest, this shit was better than the anime. I don't know why a soccer or football anime needs to look this insane, but Yusuke Nomura, thank you for making this series look raw as fuck. Oh, and also, thank you for making the manga have more movement than Season 2. I was so excited for Season 2 of Blue Lock to release, knowing we were going into the beloved U20 game, which is some of the most hype shit in the series. The animation for Season 1, I would say it was alright. Nothing insane, and it had these funny little CGI 3D scenes, but when characters would dribble the ball, we would see their feet moving. Passes of the ball were animated, and we would actually see the ball go from their feet to the back of the goal. And the people that complained didn't know how good we had it back then. October 5th, 2024. Almost 2 years since the original first season, Blue Lock Season 2 aired its first episode. And oh boy, I was so excited to see this episode. Are you serious, man? Now what is this? I wasn't too surprised to see this because of the trailer that was released. Usually with trailers for movies or games, they put the best shit they got into a 1 and 30-second video to try to hype up players to purchase or watch their product. So after watching the stinker of a trailer, assuming it's the best they got, I almost started crying. But of course, like many other fans, we had to have some copium and hope that this was just a trailer and what wasn't what we were actually going to get for Season 2. But god damn it, we were wrong. Characters with zero animation, plays being portrayed picture by picture so they make it impossible to sequence what is actually happening in the game. Every shot of the players is just them still faced with some insane moving particle effect behind them, trying to trick you into think they're moving. What? This fucker's not going nowhere. I know the art of the manga looks insane and has some of the best action panels I've ever seen, but that doesn't mean I want the anime to turn into a voiceover of still frames. And they don't even look as good. And if you didn't know about the Blue Lock manga and how well it has been doing in 2023, Blue Lock was the #1 sold manga worldwide for the entire year. Any title being able to say that they surpassed One Piece in a year is surely successful, racking in tons of bread. In the States, it's pretty big, but where it's really doing well is Japan. So many things became Blue Lock themed, having advertisements all over, showing the success and how popular the series was doing. Little naive me thought, I mean, if the series is selling this well and is this popular, they must have mountains of money to make sure that Season 2 is phenomenal, even better than Season 1. But here we are today. It's worse than Season 1. Me and all the other Blue Lock believers are coping and hoping that they saved all the hard work and budget on making sure the U20 game was done justice, because that's what Season 2 is all about. But if they fuck up this game, I think the damage to the Blue Lock name may be irreparable. When the season first released and I was crying in a random alley, no one knew what caused this drop in animation. I mean, people had their theories, but finally someone from the animating team behind Blue Lock Season 2 spoke out. Now, I'm not going to read all this shit out to you, but the person that spoke out said that they had worked on 5 episodes of Blue Lock Season 2, including Episode 2, where they animated 20 scenes. Despite their best efforts, much of their work was altered or removed in the final production due to limited time and resources. They believe the production committee prioritized profits over animator welfare, which most of us already know is a very common issue in anime. After this, the animator left the project after finishing up his Episode 2. What's also crazy is that he says even if they took the animation further and tried to make it something nice, that the writer would eliminate frames just to meet deadlines. Someone fire this bozo. I'm sorry, but how can this still happen just to make a bigger profit while spending less? I'm not smart enough or gonna do any research on how it all works, but I'm sure the mangaka of Blue Lock, Munyuki Kaneshiro, didn't want his own series to be animated this poorly and now become a joke. Alright, that's enough ranting from me. It just pains me to see this happen to a series that I love so dearly. I don't even fuck with soccer or football this heavy in the real world. I just love the themes and how raw this series is. And if you're disappointed like me and need something to clean your eyes out, set your sights on another blue titled anime, Blue Box. Does this shit have egoists trying to kill each other and coming from making goals? No, but what it does have is a wholesome story with beautiful animation. But God, I am afraid to see what season 2 is gonna look like.